through pressure canning green beans. Green beans are a low acid food, so they need to be pressure canned. Another way you can preserve them is to freeze them by blanching them in hot water, cooling them in cold water, and then freezing them. My family just prefers the taste and texture of canned green beans. So this is a pretty good example of when to pick your green beans. You can see that the pods on the inside are nice and full. It's not flat and it's long. So the prep work with green beans is a little more involved. You have to snap them. So you will pop off both ends of the green bean and then break it in half. And so if you've ever heard him talk about snapping green beans with your grandma, this is what you do. So once you snap all those, you'll wash them, and then we will walk you through the steps to pressure can them. So so our beans are snapped, and now they are washed in some cold water. We're going to start filling our jars. We are doing a raw pack method on them, so that means we are not cooking them before we pressure can them. The directions for raw pack and hot pack you can find on the Center for Food Preservation's website or from one of the canning books that I've mentioned in the past. Raw pack is a little faster than it is hot packing. It's just kind of a personal preference. So we're going to fill our jars with green beans. We're going to add salt and add hot water, very similar to the carrots. You want the green beans to be tight, pretty tight in there. What size jars you use and what type of jars you use is kind of a personal preference. For my family's needs, I am doing pints, and then I'll do some quarts later too, but we just have little kids. And then you always want to make sure that as you're getting your jars out and clean, that you check them for any chips on the rim or any cracks. So this one has a crack in it, so it's not good for any pressure canning, water bath canning. So it kind of gets dismissed from its job duties. For pint jars, following the recipe, you add half a teaspoon to each jar. And then you will add boiling water. Alright, so now we're going to add our hot water to our jars. And we are going to leave 1 inch headspace. Because that is what the directions tell us to do. And just like with the carrots, once they're in there, make sure there are no air bubbles. Wipe the rim. Put your lid on. And put your seal on finger tight. So all of our jars are filled and we have put them in the canner. Once again, this is where you want to follow the specifics of directions for your canner. So I am able to double stack my canner for pint jars, and it just said in there to kind of offset your jars when you double stack them. So we're going to put the lid on, turn the heat on, and wait for it to vent. So we have processed the green beans following the canning recipe and my canner's manual, and the timer and everything is cooled, and so they're now sitting on the table. They'll sit here for the next 12 to 24 hours. We're listening for the jars to pop. Something we haven't really talked about is taking the rings off of your jar. So yesterday we canned the carrots. We let them sit on the counter. It's almost been 24 hours and we just took the rings off. If you leave the rings on, it could create a false seal. And so if you leave, you know, like your metal bands on, you go to your pantry in a few months to get them, the jar might not have actually sealed. But because you have the ring on, you wouldn't be able to tell that. So after the 12 hours, you always want to take these off and make sure that your jars have sealed by picking up on the lid of them. But then you can put them in a cool, dry, dark spot to store for fresh eating this winter.